Hello Figgy Fiends and Collectors, this is me, Daniel East 1000, back again with another little chat to you guys about some recently announced and up for pre-order figures. I'm a little bit late to the party with talking about this one, but I'm super excited for these. I've pre-ordered them all. I'm really struggling at the minute to cherry pick, to be quite honest with you, with all the figures that Hasbro are making. They're absolutely fantastic. And I just want to take a minute or two out of your day just to talk about them. And if you've got any opinions on them, you know, sure to pop them down in the comments down below. First and foremost, all these figures are once again celebrating the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm. They're all exclusive to fan channels, so Hasbro Pulse and all your independent retailers, not really brick and mortar as far as we're aware at the moment. They all look to be in fairly good stock, to be honest, but it's a sort of case where while stocks lasts, I guess. And I can see all these figures being pretty damn popular, and that's partly due to the fact that they're based from Legends, not really considered canon, but I think that's really cool that Hasbro's been allowed to acknowledge it, really. I think one of them is more based on the modern comics, so you could kind of consider him canon if you did want to. We've always been under the impression that they wouldn't be doing Legends characters, so for them to be sort of let loose is absolutely fantastic. But sidebar there, let's get into the figures that they've announced for us. Starting off with one that was sort of teased by a lot of collector sites. I even mentioned it in my predictions video, link up there somewhere, which you can check out after this video just so you can see my thoughts on what I think might be coming out. But I did mention that this guy was possibly coming in. I am of course referring to Jackson, who is now obviously confirmed, and I am absolutely buzzing about this, although it does come with a quite bittersweet blow. Just because for the longest time, when 6-inch Black Series wasn't a thing, collectors of 334-inch, I myself included, were really campaigning for Hasbro to make this figure for the longest time, to have him on a vintage collection card, on any card really, but Hasbro were always like, no, we're not going to do that, that's stupid, until now, and they've put him in 6-inch Black Series. So sorry vintage collection collectors, hopefully they do fill that void there for you guys. We'll have to wait and see, but we're getting Jackson. The artwork they've used on the box is from one of the more modern publishers of recent times, IDW, after the Lucasfilm buyout with Disney. This is the only one from that I can tell looking through all the pictures. The others are sort of Dark Horse era, but Jackson, which is George Lucas' most hated Star Wars character. He's sort of reminiscent to Bucky O'Hare. He's just a really bizarre character. Not one that, to be honest, I'm fully clued up on, but I just think it's kind of rad that it's a green bunny in a spacesuit. It's really bizarre, it's going to look really weird on your shelf, but I think it's great. I'm glad that Hasbro have finally been able to make a Jackson figure in any scale really. Of course, on the inside of the box you've got a bio on the character, picture from the actual comic as well. Then of course the figure. Now the figure seems to be inspired from the IDW's publishing of the character, but the head sculpt seems a little bit more heavily influenced by the Star Wars Gamer issue 4 magazine, more so the artwork from the head on Jackson from that, rather than the super animated, you know, bushy cheek look. So it's like taking two sort of inspirations there from art, just to make him fit a little bit more in your realistic displays. Of course he comes with 2 blasters, and he looks to be pretty much an all new figure. Possibly the main body could be a X-Wing Luke that's just been modified, I could be wrong. Still, really cool, and I think this is one that everyone is probably going to want to get just because of how long we've had to wait for a Jackson figure to be made. Next up, we'll talk about probably the easiest one to talk about here, Darth Maul, who is in his Sith apprentice look, so he hasn't got his shirt on. You can see his Sith Lord tattoos on his muscular chest, and he looks badass. I think most people have wanted a Darth Maul like this. We've had him before in terms of 334-inch. This is the first time we're getting a Darth Maul without the shirt in 6-inch. It does look to be a bit of a retool. They've basically used the lower legs from the original Darth Maul figure, definitely tweaked the robes around the waist, and then they've obviously redone the body, and it looks like he's got a neck joint there as well. So hopefully you're going to be able to get this guy in some really cool poses. He comes with his double-bladed lightsaber naturally, and I mean it's another Darth Maul to add to your collection, so there's not really much to complain there. I've really become a big fan of Darth Maul in recent years. Moving swiftly on though, we're getting a Heir to the Empire, Luke Skywalker. Now this figure is basically a repaint or recolour of the Dagobah Luke. Nothing too wrong with that. If Hasbro can reuse a sculpt, I'm not going to grumble too much. I don't know how accurate it is to the actual look of Luke in that comic. But basically, the big thing for me here is I love the artwork of this. For those of you who don't know, Heir to the Empire is a novel and then they adapted it to comic. This was the first time we met Grand Admiral Thrawn, my favourite Star Wars character pretty much. And so that artwork really does scream to me, and I'm really tempted to get 2 of this figure just so I can have one boxed, maybe have a Grand Admiral Thrawn sort of like specific designated area to that character on my display. I don't know. The Luke also comes with a Yzlamari. I can never pronounce that name, so if anyone wants to correct me, by all means do so in the comments below. But he comes with the little creature that Thrawn has around his neck. Super cool that we're getting that. If you didn't know, the Yzlamari is a little creature that Thrawn uses, and it basically deflects or is highly sort of force sensitive. Very weird, very cool. There's a bit of a homage to them in Rebels. You can see them, or some kind of like artwork or sculpture that Thrawn has in his office. Really dope that we're getting this, and you can actually put it, by the looks of things, just the way how it's been sculpted around Thrawn's neck, or you can kind of have like Thrawn holding him. I'm glad I've now got 2 Thrawns. Hasbro's definitely made that to combat the people 3D printing their own custom Star Wars things, because I've seen ever so recently, since the updated Thrawn, you know, re-released, people have been making their own Yzlamari, so definitely seems like Hasbro's done this one, or included that with the Luke, to slightly combat that, possibly. It just seems kind of like a odd inclusion to add with Luke. Maybe if it was like Thrawn and they included that, I don't know. Way too convenient that, because now I can have like a Legends Thrawn and I can have a Rebels Thrawn. It's pretty sweet. But the Luke itself, it's fine. It's pretty, I don't want to say basic, but it is fairly basic. It's just an easy one for Hasbro to produce. I like it, but it has his green lightsaber, and that's pretty much it in terms of accessories. It's just the Yzlamari that really pulled at me in this one, and the artwork on the box. So, moving on to the final figure we have to talk about, and this is the one with the biggest can of worms. Hasbro, you done goofed. You really done goofed with this one. Like, massive boo-boo. So this figure is based from Star Wars Crimson Empire, of which is a fairly beloved comic book series. The box art is really cool, but the guy on the box art is not Kana Jax. I mean, that would have been fine. It's like, okay, well, that's the artwork that the thing's from. But when you open the box up, you're not greeted with Kana Jax. You're greeted with Kirkanis. I know it's just a royal guard at the end of the day. Kana Jax has got black on his face mask and like black on other parts of his suit. And he just kind of looks like a badass. And personally, I would have preferred that. But the one that we're getting is actually Kirkanos, despite what it says on the box. And Hasbro have had to make a statement addressing this and saying it's not Kana Jax, it's Kirkanos. I mean, even on the Star Wars website, they've had to like put Kirkanos in brackets. I really don't know how they managed to make a massive boo-boo like that. When you read the bio as well that they've included, it describes Kirkanos, not Kana Jax. It's a bit of a mess. I'm hoping it's not gone too far into production. I know it's just a name tab, but it's super weird. I think it's possibly a little bit too late. Unless they do a sticker thing and they just put a sticker over it, that would be fine. All these figures were like great until like you actually looked into this one. Realisation sets in, because even I know a little bit about the characters, so when I was reading into the bio I was like, hold on. I mean, the box art and everything is kind of lovely. It's just that name goof is just, I'm speechless, sort of speechless by that. I mean, this basically takes the Royal Guard sculpt and just tweaks the actual robes to be more of a cloak. I love the sort of inner material that they've used on that cloak as well, but it comes with that bladed staff. Just a shame they goofed on the name there. These also, sidebar, really do scream out comic packs to me. If anyone remembers back in the day, 334-inch had a line called the comic packs. You got 2 figures and the comic book in the box. They were super cool because you got some really interesting characters, and you also got the comic to sort of explain those characters. It also introduced you to the comics and made you have a bit of intrigue into the comics and look into buying more of them effectively. I thought it was a really cool line. I had a lot of comic packs. I was obsessed with them because they were super cool. You got some super cool characters and variants on existing characters and repaints. It was just really good stuff. These 6-inch Black Series figures really do hark to that, and I hope Hasbro takes note on the interest in these, because there's so many comic book characters that he could do in 6-inch Black Series that people want, and some of them they could easily just repaint or re-releases. They're all the exclusive figures that Hasbro released. Like I said, I've pre-ordered them all. I'm really looking forward to getting them. I think Jackson for me was the big one. The rest of them are kind of cool little additions. They all look great, and I'm really looking forward to getting them. Let me know what you guys think. Have you pre-ordered them all, or have you just gone for some specific ones that you're wanting? Let me know in the comments down below. This is me, Daniel Lees 1000, signing out. Thank you very much for watching.